Well, my name is Angelina Palumbo, and I am the Director of Education Abroad here at Northern Arizona University. My co-host today is Maria Seawalt. She is our Inbound Exchange Coordinator at the Center for International Education here at NAU as well. So one of the great things I love about my job is where Northern Arizona University is located. We are located in the southwest region of the United States in an amazing mountain town. We have one of the best college scenes in the downtown area. This photograph here is from our downtown on the historic Route 66. People here are incredibly friendly. We are in a time of COVID, so there is a little bit more of that physical and social distancing than we normally would see here in Flagstaff, but we're really looking forward to welcoming you to this community where we basically have just an amazing time. In Northern Arizona, we do have 4 seasons. So you may think of Arizona as cactus and desert, but just last week we had 3 feet of snow, so a ton of snow here on the ground. In the world of Zoom, we don't get snow days anymore, but we were able to go out and build snowmen and have a really good time outside. The other great thing is even when there's snow on the ground, the sun is shining, which makes all of us incredibly happy and fills us with the warmth of both the snow and the sun coming out. So we really want to welcome you here to Flagstaff, whether you're here now on campus this semester or planning to come here in the future. So we host about 1,300 students from 82 countries around the world here in Arizona. We are excited to diversify our campus. We're adding new exchange agreements across the world, including Jordan, the country of Georgia. We're working on a new exchange agreement in Slovenia. So we're so excited that your institutions are already partners with us, and we hope that you can come to Northern Arizona and meet other international students from around the world, as well as our domestic students here from the United States. One really cool thing about Flagstaff is we are considered a dark sky city. So Flagstaff is the world's first. You can see the stars incredibly well, including the Milky Way. And while it does have sort of a darker amber look to our town and to campus, it is incredibly safe. We do have blue light security phones throughout campus. So if there is an issue, it's really accessible to get in touch with someone. But it's really incredible for you to go out, lay down on the grass and look up at the stars because we don't have that light pollution that other mountain towns or other towns have. I'd like to bring Maria to the stage here.
Good morning, everyone. As Angel said, my name is Maria Seawalt. I'm the Inbound Exchange Coordinator. I know I've already been communicating with some of you, and we'll continue to communicate with more and more of you. So we're going to start with the academics at NAU, and we're going to go through much of the student experience as an exchange student here. So NAU has over 22,000 students enrolled here on our campus in 150 academic programs. But something that's really noteworthy and has a great impression on students is that we actually have a small class size and student to faculty ratio. So the semester right now, we're about 3 weeks in, and students have already started commenting on how different it feels to them compared to their home university, where they feel like they really know their professors and have a relationship with their professors and their classmates. And these smaller class sizes really allow students to engage in dialogue and share information and build these relationships that they don't always get the opportunity to have in classes when you're like in a 400 student lecture hall, for example. Also, as an exchange student, you would attend NAU on a J1 visa, and part of that requirement is that you enroll in a minimum of 12 in-person credits. And students can take 12 to 18 credits a semester, which on average is 4 to 6 classes meeting throughout the semester. So you have access to faculty and lots of student supports here, and you can enroll in a lot of different types of classes. So when you come to NAU, you can of course take courses at NAU that count towards your degree progression. So if you're studying history, you can of course take history courses here at NAU that will count towards your degree at home. But another option is that you take courses outside of your degree program. So NAU has some really fun and unique courses. Students love to enroll in the skiing and snowboarding class that's offered during the spring semester. Like Angel said, we live at the base of a mountain, and up on that mountain there is a ski slope. So that's really exciting for students. And of course, astronomy. You're in a great dark sky city with great access to the sky, and you can enroll in astronomy courses that include going out at night and looking at the stars. Also, our Applied Indigenous Studies program is really robust and really unique to the American Southwest. And it's really common that students will choose some of those courses to add on to perhaps what they're studying for their degree, taking advantage of this unique experience here at NAU that they couldn't take at their home university, or other classes that just spark your interest. Our criminology department, criminal justice and criminology department has courses that have really exciting looking titles. For example, crime justice in the media, and exchange students often enroll in these courses because of the conversations and the topics that are covered there. And as an exchange student, you have that flexibility, of course. You can take the courses that you need for your degree or take other courses at NAU that you couldn't take at your home university, and finding a combination that works for you. And as the inbound exchange coordinator, I work with each exchange student to enroll in classes. So once you're admitted to NAU, we work together to get you in the best schedule for your needs and interests. At NAU and many US universities, athletics play a big role. So as a student at NAU, you can attend any of the games for free. You don't have to buy a ticket to get in. And you can see down in this lower picture, that says the Lumberyard at the NAU football games. There's a lot of school spirit there, and you can go and cheer on the teams. And it's not just football. We have lots of sports that you can spectate, and perhaps you want to get off the sidelines and join some teams yourself. We have over 35 intramural sports teams. Of course, soccer and football are there, but we also have lacrosse and Quidditch, which I thought was really exciting that we had a Quidditch team at NAU. And I hear they're actually a really good Quidditch team. So if you're interested in joining a Quidditch team, you might join the NAU. I believe they're called the Narwhals, the NAU Narwhals Quidditch team. I see in the chat someone asked, does NAU have a men's soccer team? Yes, we have a men's soccer team. As exchange students, you aren't able to join the official NAU soccer team, but there are lots of different competitive intramural club teams. Actually, this picture in the top right with the students mostly in the red t-shirts, that's a group of students, international students, who created a team who played competitively. They were called International United 2 semesters ago. At NAU, we recognize that your education is really holistic, and there's a lot more than just going to class in a classroom and learning, and that as students and as humans, as individuals, we need different support services. So NAU has a really robust multicultural and LGBTQIA student services center who has support, but also lots of programming around campus. The Academic Success Center offers tutoring and other academic support that is of no additional cost to you. As an exchange student, you have access to all of the NAU resources that are included in student fees, and you can make it a one-on-one tutoring appointment that you're not paying for those individual sessions, but that you're getting that service from our Academic Success Center. Counseling services are also available, and career services and development are really useful for students who are looking for an on-campus job or perhaps an internship. At the end of your program, you might be hoping to do academic training, which is an option as a J1 student, to do an internship somewhere in the US. And the Career Services and Development Office will help you rewrite perhaps your CV into an American style resume, or practice interview questions, or build your job application portfolio online. They're a really useful department that offers lots of programming, but also one-on-one support. And additionally, we have our iFriends club and organization, which is for international students and domestic students to help connect students and build more community. some more services on campus. There is not a lack of services and supports on campus. And I think that's something that's you can really feel when you're on campus. In the States, I think the campus experience is quite different than my experiences that I've had and I've heard from other students in other countries. Really, there's like a community and like a mini city almost on NAU's campus. If you never left campus, you'd be fine, but there's lots to see and do. So I hope you would leave campus, but there's lots going on, food, support, entertainment right here on campus. Louie's Cupboard is a food pantry that's open to students to make sure everyone has the things they need. The yellow bikes you can see in that middle circle are Lumberjack, Louie the Lumberjack mascot riding the yellow bike. Those are offered to students to rent throughout the semester. Flagstaff and the campus in general are really bikeable. So you could always rent a yellow bike. We see students on yellow bikes all over campus. If something I've mentioned didn't stick out to you already, like joining the Quidditch team or the soccer team, there are over 300 student clubs and organizations on campus. Very diverse focuses in the different clubs and organizations. So we're sure you would be able to find one that you could join and it meets your needs and interests, and that you could bring your perspective and experiences to. Campus recreation. So at NAU, we have campus recreation in the Health and Learning Center. It's a really large building that includes like workout facilities and fitness classes. We also have an aquaplex with Olympic-sized swimming pools and tennis courts, really nice facilities that you have access to as students. So students pay NAU fees, and included in these fees is your access to this. So you're not buying a gym membership on top of anything else, but you have access to the gym with the student fees at NAU. That rock wall is also in our Health and Learning Center, which I think is so cool. I could never do it, but I love going and watching and seeing much more fit people climbing the rock wall and enjoying themselves in the Health and Learning Center. But that top left photo is perhaps what I think is the coolest part of our recreation program, and it's called Outdoor Adventures. Outdoor Adventures offers a rental program essentially. So perhaps you're thinking you'd love to go camping and do some road trips here in the Southwest, but you don't know if you have room in your suitcase to bring your tent and your sleeping bag and all of your camping gear. You can rent the camping gear that you would need from our Outdoor Adventures, and it's cheaper and more affordable than if you were to rent from a private company out in the city. And also, currently they're not offering these programs, but they have in the past, and I expect they will again soon, when things are safer and physical distancing isn't as necessary or isn't as distant. Outdoor Adventures has programmings and trips. There's a fee for these, but they are affordable compared to if you were going with a private tour company. So with Outdoor Adventures, you could sign up to do a rafting trip or a hiking trip, all sorts of adventures that are provided by Outdoor Adventures, where you can meet other students and also have those really unique experiences with other students. A bit more about campus life. We have on-campus housing and programming for students, and we really encourage exchange students to opt to live on campus. Of course, students arrange and make their own housing decisions about what's best for them, but my advice is always to live on campus to students, because there really is so much going on all the time. And if you live on campus, you don't have to put much thought into, well, how late do I will I get home? Do I take a bus? Is the bus still running at that hour? Do I really feel like going back to campus to eat that free pizza at that event? I don't know if I do, but if I just have to walk to the next building, I'll go eat the free pizza at the event. So I think on-campus housing allows you to have more of an experience here and think about a few less things when planning your days, really. But in addition to that, we have our International House, which is a global learning community. So in the International House, domestic and international students are living there who have an interest and a focus on, globalization of the world. And they also have special programming only available to students living in the International House. Also, as I'm sure you've seen in movies or heard about before, we have a huge homecoming celebration at NAU, including big sports events. But that like carnival photo here with that pink smear of light that says Starship is like carnival rides, which I thought was really exciting because I went to a small college in the US and we never had a homecoming event like this. So this to me was like the movies come to real life at NAU. And we also have some unique experiences for international students. International prom, get dressed up just like you would expect at a prom that you've surely seen in movies and photos online. A really fun celebration that we have. And also concerts. NAU brings in different bands each year to have concerts and free movie screenings. In our on-campus theater, they'll sometimes screen movies that are still out in like the public theater that you, but because you're a student, you've already paid for these fees and these services in your student fees, you can attend all of these things for free. Sorry. Arts and culture. So we talked a lot about sports and such, but it's not just sports at a university campus. If you have interest in sports, or a little bit of interest in sports, you can attend or participate. But if sports aren't your things, there is certainly much more to do on campus outside of sport. Arts and culture on campus and in the community of Flagstaff. We have a really vibrant community with lots of different programming going on campus and within the community. NAU's Performing and Fine Arts Center hosts different orchestras and student performance groups, or outside presenters come in to those centers and present to students or put on a show or gallery or whichever their art is. This photo here, these two photos, that background photo and the top right photo, are from cultural nights. So during this semester, we have culture nights that are put on by international students. So the one up top was Germany and India. So that was paired together as a night, and the advertisement is for South Korea and the Netherlands. And at those events, there's always really good food and lots of students and performances or presentations, or sometimes they put up games and different informational booths put together by students. So that's always really fun. And exchange students always have a really good time there. That top photo is all exchange students from last semester. Also on campus and within the community, there are different open mic nights or concerts and festivals throughout the year that really give you lots to do if you don't leave town. And as Angel said, our dark sky is really impressive, and the Lowell Observatory is here in town. And that's another thing that you can do right here in Flagstaff that is a unique opportunity that gives you access to the skies. So where is Flagstaff? Flagstaff is in northern Arizona, and I see that the star that we used to have on here is missing. So Angel, can you hover with your mouse over where we are on this map? Ish? Yeah, we're up there in Arizona. And when I think of Arizona, well, 2 years ago, when I thought of Arizona, I thought of cactus and desert. That's all I thought was in Arizona. And then I found out there's places like Flagstaff in Arizona, where you're up in the mountain. It's a desert still, but you're at the base of a mountain surrounded by pine trees. And it's quite different than the rest of Arizona. Down in Phoenix, for example, being very hot in the summer and really nice and warm in the winter. Whereas in Flagstaff, like Angel said, we get all 4 seasons and it's sunny and beautiful. Even today, there's snow on the ground, but the sun is shining so bright. But in northern Arizona, in Flagstaff, you have access to so many places around the southern United States. And exchange students are the most ambitious students I've ever met and have more energy than the average human. And so many students take road trips every weekend. They're going to somewhere that's maybe an hour away or 2 or 3 hours away and exploring so much. And especially right now with the global pandemic, we know it's going to be here longer than just the semester, right? We'll still be living with this for a bit longer. But in Flagstaff, we have access to so many places that we can visit and experience without going to a major congested city. So just an hour away, basically our backyard on a US standard. Just an hour away is the Grand Canyon. and that's really amazing. I don't think you can go to the Grand Canyon too many times. Every time you go, it's a different experience. Sedona is only an hour away, actually probably a little less than an hour, and the trip to Sedona is incredible. In the winter, Sedona is extra nice because just going that 1 hour south to Sedona, the temperature is so much warmer. So when I want to escape the snow, I usually can go down to Sedona, just an hour away to escape and see some beautiful red rocks and do some hiking. Of course, if you want to get to a city, Phoenix is 2 hours away. Vegas is 4 hours away. And there are lots of different national parks within driving distance from Flagstaff. These hours, I think, seem pretty high when you're not used to driving in the States. But for us, like a 6-hour trip, you could do that for like a long weekend. So students often get out and explore, and we hope you will too. Of course, your academics and your experience at NAU in Flagstaff on campus will be robust if you don't take any of these trips. But we know that students want to see and do as much as they can. And Flagstaff is a really amazing and ideal starting point to do a lot of those adventures.
I just want to add really quick, the Grand Canyon is just north of us. I put it in the chat as well. The wonderful thing is you can go to the rim and look over the canyon walls, but there are also some really epic, amazing hikes going down into the bottom of the Grand Canyon, and you can do it in a day. We do have spots where you have to reserve a year ahead to get some of the spots to actually camp down in the bottom of the Grand Canyon, but you are able to hike in pretty much almost year round. Right now it's a little bit icy with the snow that we just received last week, but if you have good crampons for your shoes, it's a really, really excellent hike down into the Grand Canyon. Sedona also has some really great hiking, and it's just south of us. I think it's a little bit easier to do some of those Sedona hikes. The Grand Canyon is definitely a canyon straight down, but if you do enjoy that outdoor adventure, this is really a great place for you to come.
And like we said before, with the Outdoor Adventures organization, this is a great way to access these places. When you join an outdoor adventure trip, they provide the transportation, food, gear, everything. So if you're maybe not prepared to go with your roommate on a hike by yourselves and brave the outdoors, just the two of you, or are unprepared with resources, joining an outdoor adventure trip is really a great opportunity to do that. And they also offer trips like to the Grand Canyon and other places. The NAU, one of the clubs on campus, I see a chat question about access to national parks, but another club on campus that students really like to join is the hiking club. So it's an organization of students who go on different hikes around the state or around the region. And of course, if you're in that club, you have access to the transportation with other club members and such. So another great way to get out, explore, and meet some more people who maybe have similar interests to you. These photos here on the left are some photos from recent exchange students. So in places like Colorado or Southern Utah, the Grand Canyon, of course, Bryce Canyon in Southern Utah. Horseshoe Bend is also in Arizona. And that bottom right photo is actually a student's photo of the Milky Way from here in the city of Flagstaff. They had a bonfire one night in the forest outside, in the town still, but outside of campus. And this is one of the photos he took from right here in campus. So we're not kidding when we tell you the sky is really amazing here. But there's a lot to do. And we hope that when you come, you're able to take advantage of some of these opportunities to explore.
We have a question about borrowing cars or renting cars. From what I understand, Maria, maybe you know this a little bit. Do you know the answer to this question? Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. I'll let you go.
So students are renting cars all the time. So as an exchange student, I often refer students to Google, but to check in and see what the requirements are for the license that you have at home. Do you have an international license, or do you have your German license, for example? What do you have and what can you rent? And usually there's a time period of how long you can rent a car in the US with your international driver's license, but also if you're a student who's coming for perhaps a full academic year, we talk about this at orientation as well. You can apply for an Arizona driver's license if you have a license already, you take a written test and then you do like an actual driving test. It costs about $100, which is much cheaper than most countries when it comes to getting a license. So if you're planning to do a lot of driving or for a longer period of time, that's also an option too, if you have an international driver's license, to then apply and get an Arizona driver's license. But renting cars and driving across the country is happening all the time. And usually I say, don't ask other students for advice, but this is one of the times where I'd say ask students for advice, because they know how to get the cheapest rate or which company gives the best rate and things of that nature. With all of these rental car questions, admittedly, I only know so much, but if you Google, renting a car in the US, I also believe it's 25, but give it a Google, renting a car as an international student in Arizona. And I'm sure you'll find a lot of information, because with the Grand Canyon and all the other places you can get to, it's really common to have students and international individuals in general renting cars out here.
One kind of unique thing that we have here too is pretty affordable used cars. So we've seen international students chip in together money-wise, buy a car for the semester and then sell it at the end of the semester. You will need insurance, and there's a lot more that goes into that, but we've seen that as well. But really just getting to know domestic students here on campus who have cars can really just be a great way. You can chip in some gas money and go all around the Southwest region. There are bus systems as well that you can get on in Phoenix, I know, that will take you to Los Angeles for a very affordable amount. So really just doing that research on, the timing and how to get down to Phoenix and all of that would be your best bet. But once you're here, we can definitely support you and help you get to those locations that you're hoping to get to.
So if this presentation has excited you enough that you're thinking about coming to NAU, and to be an exchange student at NAU, there is a nomination process. So your first step, if you're interested in studying abroad, is to contact your study abroad advisor at your home university, and they'll give you all the information you need about the different programs you have accessibility to and the process and whatnot. After that point, if you are nominated by your home university, they will send me your contact information, and I will reach out to you to initiate the application process so that we can get you applied to, admitted, your immigration documents and everything, and on your way over here to Flagstaff in Arizona. But if you have any questions about the program, you're always welcome to reach out to me with any questions that you have. Of course, it is a balance of, is this question for my home university or NAU? I'm happy to help you figure that out. So my email address is exchangestudent@nau.edu. And I'm always happy to receive your questions and help you figure out what might work best for you. And tell you more about NAU if you have specific questions. I see a question in the chat, and I believe it's about immigration. So absolutely, you're never alone in the immigration process. So when you're admitted to NAU, and when you apply, you submit all the information that we need in order to issue you your immigration documents that you would take to a visa appointment. You would, of course, secure your visa appointment and all of that on your own in your home country. But of course, we're here to answer any questions that you have about that process. And then we have different pack your bag sessions, which lead up to the start of the semester that we offer to support students with information on the visa process, travel process, and arrival and everything. I see a question about when you would expect to get your immigration documents. So if you are nominated as an exchange student and you had applied, or if you are nominated and then you apply, because we're not in that step yet, we're all in the early stages of this. The nomination deadline is March 1st and application is March 15th for the upcoming semester. So what happens is we receive your application and all of the information to issue your immigration document. And the university issues what is called a DS 2019, and you take that document to the embassy to receive your J1 visa. You should expect, it depends on how quickly you and your other colleagues from your home university apply at NAU. We ship the documents and your admission packets to your home universities in a bundle. So you could expect to get that in March if all of the other students have also submitted their applications in March. If you have specific questions about visas and such, I'd really suggest sending us over an email, of course, talking to your home university advisor, and then sending me an email so that we could give you the specific information about different visa types, because the general visa type that students attend is on a J1.
The next question, Maria, is when can we expect to hear from you about applying once we've been nominated?
So once I receive the nominations from partner universities, I send the emails out a few days after. So there are some students who have already received emails from me because I've already received the nomination from the home university. But the home universities have until March. So it's possible that you think you've been nominated by your home university, but they haven't sent those to me yet. And they have until March to send those. So if you haven't heard from me yet and you think you should have already been nominated and should be hearing from me, reach out to your home university study abroad advisor and ask them if you've already been nominated to NAU, and check in with them as well. And the deadline for submitting your application for this fall semester is March 15th.
All right, the next question are, what are the chances of attending classes physically next semester, or will they be online?
Great question. As students on a J1 visa, you are required to attend class in person. So this semester, NAU has implemented the NAU Flex model, which is designed to allow for physical distancing. So you would always attend your class live, but you might be in person in the classroom or on Zoom like we are right now. So between the professor and the students, they arrange a schedule for which group of students come in person and when you will join live on Zoom. So for example, if your class met every Tuesday and Thursday, perhaps you're in the group of students who come in person on Tuesday and you join live from Zoom on Thursday. But as exchange students, you must attend class in person. So even with the NAU Flex model, students are enrolled in classes that allow for in-person attendance, and you must make the effort and initiative to attend in person in order to maintain your immigration status.
The next one is K2 visa compatibility capable for your university?
I would send me an email with that information so that I can discuss with our Director of International Student Scholar Services the different opportunities we have for students who would be attending outside of a J1 visa status.
Excellent. The deadline for applying is the 1st of March?
March 15th is the deadline to apply. The nominations come in on March 1st.
Excellent. And then the last question so far is when does the term start?
Great question. I get this question all the time and my brain does not remember it all the time. It's in August. Give me 34 seconds.
Absolutely. Yeah, and one thing I would look at is our calendar does change sometimes because of the current pandemic situation that we're in. This past fall semester, we started a week early, and then we were finished by the end of November. And that was to have students be able to go home for Thanksgiving break and not have to come back to campus to try to eliminate some of the COVID spread. So these dates may change. So I would definitely just keep in touch with Maria once you've been nominated and admitted to make sure that you have the correct information.
Great point, Angel. And we will obviously communicate that to students and partners as we learn any updates about that. Currently, this semester for fall 2021 starts on August 23rd, but a really great support and requirement actually for students is our international student orientation. So international students come to NAU about a week before classes begin, and you have different sessions with us, the different people from the Center for International Education, different resources on campus, immigration information sessions, social events where we prepare you for the semester. So right now, as it stands, students would anticipate coming mid-August, but as Angel said, this past fall, students came the first week of August to campus. Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about the visa process and visas being denied and how you worked with those students with the denial of their visa?
Yeah, so Actually, we don't have very many J1 students denied a visa because you've gone through the process for us to issue the documents, and we prepare you with all the documents and information you should take with you to your immigration appointment. This recently, though, the challenge has not been denied visas, but denied appointments or postponed appointments or canceled appointments because of lockdowns in different countries and things of that nature. So that has, of course, been a challenge for students, but for the most part, students who know they're coming to NAU or who knew they were coming to NAU this January, they were able to get appointments. And the other thing to keep in mind is that the sooner you finish your application, the more on top of it you are. As soon as you're admitted, you have the information to contact the embassy to make your appointment. So thinking about that in the back of your mind is the more prepared you are in the application process, the sooner you can make your visa appointment and go to that appointment as well. But of course, challenges happen, right, with your visa appointment and everything. So if any of that comes up, contact me. I've had a lot of conversations and a lot of emails in the past year about visa appointments and everything. So I'm really happy to help navigate. And also, when it comes to your visa, your study abroad advisor at your home university is a great resource because they're working with many students from your home city or home country who are going through the same process. So they might be able to tell you, well, this is the timeline so-and-so was on with their appointment, and give you other information as well.
The next question is, are you automatically accepted by NAU if your home institution nominated you?
Good question. No, but your home university knows the NAU requirements for admission. So for example, if your home university has nominated you and you don't have the English proficiency level required, we can admit you with that, but we would contact your home university first and encourage you to perhaps take another English proficiency test so that you could submit another test score that meets the requirement. Or your GPA, for example, your grades, there is a GPA requirement for admission, and that's taken into consideration. But in general, I don't want to say that it's a guarantee because it's certainly not, but in general, your study abroad advisor knows the NAU requirements and are looking at you as a candidate to NAU. And for the most part, students who are nominated meet the requirements. And if not, we work with you to see if we can get what we need. But there are times that students are denied, but for the most part, students are admitted.
So what do you think the chances are that students can actually travel? That's the next question.
Well, I wish I had, like a
magic ball.
A magic ball. That's right. Like I wish I was a fortune teller and I could look into this magic ball and know the future. I can say that students arrived this January. So we did have students coming in person as exchange students and degree-seeking international students who secured a visa, were able to travel. Home University had also maintained mobility and they traveled to the US for this spring semester. Honestly, you know as much as I do about what's going on in the world and what's happening. So what I tell you today might not be the same this afternoon or tomorrow. So being aware of, we want to stay optimistic, we want to stay positive, we want to welcome you to NAU, right? Like I live for these things to work out, but we have to be flexible and understanding and patient, and that's what I tried to be with students as well. So it could come to the point where your home university has assessed, or your home country has assessed the situation and they've prohibited travel. We can't change that, right? We can only deal with that in the ways we can. And one way we can deal with that is, it's not the same as coming in person, of course, but NAU has a virtual exchange program. You can attend NAU classes online from home. It's a bit different, of course, but that is an option. And many students did that last fall when their exchange was canceled. They opted to do a virtual exchange because they still wanted that international experience from home. Since most of us are at home anyway, why not take classes in a different country from home? So like I said, there's no guarantee. We don't know what tomorrow brings, but we're optimistic, we're hopeful, we're ready to welcome students, and we hope we'll be able to welcome you too.
All right, the next question is going back to the K2 visa. Basically, we will work with all visa types. It will just depend on how you're admitted to the institution. So what we'll do is we'll look at your individual situation. working with the director of the International Student Scholar Services to see the best way to make sure that you're here legally and able to enroll into classes. So if you send an email to Maria, she'll be able to support you through your visa process. Is the visa deadline the same as the application deadline for NAU?
So when you apply to NAU, your application includes all of the, you're not admitted to NAU until you've submitted all of the documents that are required for us to issue your immigration documents, your DS 2019, and that's a document you take to your visa appointment. So when you apply, you'll submit your transcripts, your English proficiency scores, other academic information, and you'll also submit your passport, the financial information we need in order to issue those immigration documents. So in theory, yes, the NAU visa deadline and application deadline are the same. And we need that information in order for you to start the visa process.
Excellent. The next question is it possible to study for a full year?
Yes, it depends on the allocations for your home university and the partnership in your home university and NAU's agreement. But students are able to participate in full academic year exchange or one semester exchange.
All right. Is it valid, or is a B2 level in English FCE Cambridge from 2016 okay? Is there a deadline on when they take the test?
Great question. English test scores cannot be older than 2 years. So if you have a Cambridge test from 2016, that would not be able to be used for your admission. And we would need a different documentation of a test score. Recently, NAU started accepting the Duolingo test, which is significantly cheaper than a TOEFL or an IELTS English test. But again, if you're a nominated student, you're working on your application and you're unsure about the English documentation you have or anything, send me an email. You could send me the document as an attachment and say, can I use this for my application or do I need something else? And I'll give you advice on that.
Is there a chance that, I'm guessing fall semester would be totally normal, referring to the vaccination process and gestation of the pandemic in the US? This is an interesting question. I think it's a great question. NAU right now and Flagstaff, our community, is rolling out vaccinations right now, both in the community and on campus. Right now we're at what's called the 1B level. So 1A and 2A, I believe, were all of the healthcare workers and first responders. 1B is all of the educators. So working first with teachers from the elementary all the way up through the higher education institution. And from there, we hope that it rolls out even further. As far as the timeline, it will just really depend on the vaccines that are available and that NAU receives. As far as it going to students before the fall semester, I'm not sure that it will be 100% rolled out by then, but I'm guessing it will be more normal. I wouldn't say that it will be back to normal. I think that the pandemic, we have a long ways to go with it. So, maintaining mask wearing and physical distancing, I think will be a thing for a while, but unfortunately we don't have all of the answers because, like Maria said, things change all the time. We didn't anticipate higher education being vaccinated right now, and we are, so that's positive, but that could change really at any moment. Do you have anything you want to share about that, Maria?
Yeah, no, I don't think we can give really a solid, like a true answer, right? I don't think we can give that, but I think that it is important that when you're thinking about this, like, we are doing our very best to make sure you have a great experience. NAU as a whole is doing its best to make sure students have a great experience. But the reality is that the world is not the way it was 2 years ago. And I think that it's really important that students recognize that. And when deciding what you're doing and when navigating these systems and structures, that you recognize that, like, we're all navigating something new. So like your visa process and everything, we've never been used to such disruption. So recognizing that and staying optimistic and positive as much as we can through all of it, and really rolling with it, and maybe having a backup plan if things aren't going to be the way you hoped, having a backup plan.
Next question is, what is the GPA requirement?
The GPA requirement for exchange students is a 2.5 out of 4.0 GPA. And you can Google the conversion. So if you Google, I don't know, French GPA to US 4.0 GPA scale, you can do that and get an estimate. Of course, our international admissions team reviews your document officially, but you could do that to get an estimate. So you have a general idea of, oh, am I close? Am I above? Or am I below that requirement?
The next question is, could it be the case that we're not allowed to come to NAU when not getting a vaccination before? Right now, NAU has not made decisions on if vaccinations will be required, and we will likely not prevent students from coming to campus until it's fully accessible to all students. Our goal is to provide education to everybody and provide access to everybody, and until everyone has access to it, I think it wouldn't do student service to require vaccination, especially this upcoming year. That may change at any moment, but we will definitely keep you updated as we get more information on that. But my inclination is to say no. It won't be the case that you'll be not denied to come, especially this next year. But as the president of the institution and leadership make decisions, we'll definitely keep you all in touch.
There is testing requirements for COVID testing for on-campus dormitories, for example, right now. In order to move into your dorm, you must prove or present a negative COVID test in such a time frame and things. All of that will be continued to be communicated to students. We do have free testing on campus for students. So testing is really accessible here in Flagstaff, which is, we're really lucky. It's not like that all across the state or all across the country. We've been really lucky here in Flagstaff with how easy and accessible and free our COVID testing has been this whole time. So that is really optimistic. And I think you could continue to expect to need to have COVID testing.
I agree, yes. Is it a problem if you can't participate in the first days of the semester due to exams at your home institution?
If you're in this situation, please email us so that we can discuss it and determine what that means. There is a date by which all students, exchange or otherwise, must arrive on campus. We have to have requirements, especially because of your immigration status. So if you're in this situation, send me an email so that we can look at your specific situation together to determine what is feasible and what is not.
We do offer proctoring as well at NAU. So if you have the opportunity to allow NAU to proctor your exam for you so that you can come on time, we can support you in that way as well. Mm-hmm. Is it also possible to get an international driver's license when staying one semester?
Yep. So the international driver's license is, I don't know too much about. Usually that comes from your home country or bigger organization. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where the international license really comes from. I think it's something you apply for, but it's possible when you look it up that perhaps the driver's license that you have for your home country, let's say Germany, maybe your German license is valid for so many months in the US. Perhaps you don't need to apply for an Arizona license or an official international license. But if you want to, if you're only coming for one semester, there is absolutely no reason you can't apply for a driver's license in Arizona. You're absolutely welcome to do any of that. It's usually just a matter of, is it worth my time and energy and effort for one semester, or is it not? And if it is, you're absolutely welcome to do that. There's no limit that's authorized by another government organization entirely.
I have a question that says, where do I submit this information? Are you talking about the international driver's license, or which part are you talking about for that question? I apologize, I'm not understanding that question. Maybe we'll move on to the next one if you want to submit the question again. The next question is, how do you travel to Flagstaff, flights and such?
Excellent question. Flagstaff has its own airport. If you look it up, it's the airport code FLG. It's a very small airport, but we always encourage students to travel to Flagstaff by plane. Phoenix Airport is the closest large international airport, but by shuttle bus, that's about 3 hours, 2.5 to 3 hours from Flagstaff. So it's not uncommon for students to book their international flight to Phoenix or perhaps Dallas, another airport that has connecting flights to Flagstaff. Usually they're doing it to get a cheaper price. Of course, you can book your flight from Madrid to Flagstaff, but I think usually students break up that last leg of their trip just to save some money. But we always encourage students to fly into the Flagstaff airport. We always offer a shuttle on specific dates that we communicate to students from the Flagstaff Airport, where CIE staff will come pick you up and deliver you and your luggage and everything directly to your dorm building on campus. So you're not figuring out a taxi or an Uber or anything like that. But if you fly into any other airport, for example, if you fly into Phoenix or Vegas, you'd then be responsible for finding your way to campus. Of course, you can do that. There are buses and shuttles and such. But for the easiest and the smoothest arrival to campus, we always encourage students to fly into the Flagstaff Airport directly.
Okay, going back to that question. So once you're nominated and you start the application process, where do you submit all of the general enrollment information, such as your passport, your visa, all of that stuff? How does that work?
Great question. So once you're nominated, I'll send you an email that says information about the program and a link to the online application portal. So in that online application portal, you'll enter some information about yourself, but that's also where you're going to upload your passport, your transcripts, your English proficiency scores, your financial documentation. All of that gets uploaded into the online application and then reviewed by our international admissions team. If anything is missing from your initial application, we will contact you. But I'd reiterate here again that in order for us to process your application as quickly as possible, make sure you've submitted everything. So don't submit your application without your transcripts, because we can't do anything with it. And it's just going to delay your process even more, because someone has to review your documents, contact you, wait for you to submit them again. And it just makes it more of a challenge and a process for you and our office. So if you submit it all at once, you'll see a much quicker admission to the university.
Is it the same for both semester and academic year?
Yes, so the documentation that we need is all the same. However, the difference is for the financial information. We need that financial information not from NAU's perspective. We're not determining how much money you have if you should be able to come to NAU, but what we're determining is if you have the financial documentation that you need in order to get your immigration documents. So when you apply for a semester, you're showing less money than if you're applying for the full year. So that's the one thing that is different, is the amount of money that has to be demonstrated on your financial documents for immigration purposes, but otherwise the application materials are the same. However, if you're coming for a semester or a year, that information is provided to me by your home university at the time of nomination.
They submit the transcript to you as well, Maria, for the student
Students
does.
do, yes.
So in order to register for classes, you need their transcript.
Yes. So once you're admitted to NAU, you'll get an email from us that says, congratulations, you've been admitted to NAU, and give you all the different steps of what your process is. And depending when that comes to you, you may be able to start enrolling in classes right away, or we might need to wait some time because those enrollment does not usually begin until at least May. So if you get the email in March, we can't start your enrollment yet. We can't start that until they call it the catalog is live, but you will work directly with me to enroll in your courses, and I provide information on how you do that after you've been admitted to the university.
If they want to go for a calendar year, how does that work?
Calendar year is an option, which means you're starting in January in our spring semester, staying through the summer and going into the fall semester. It is possible to do this. However, financially, and I think that students think about this a lot too, financially, the calendar year is the most expensive year at NAU, because you're paying any individual semester fees for housing, for example, and you're also responsible for paying for housing over the summer break. That housing isn't included in any rent, for example. So it's possible, but my suggestion for students is always start in the fall if you can. If you're coming for a year, starting in the fall, so you're starting with the new group of students, the orientation, you're going through that traditional process. It's a little bit more smooth, and financially it's going to be more affordable than the calendar year exchange as well. If that's your only option, of course, discuss that with your home university and also me.
Do you need to upload a proof of language when you're already studying in English at your home institution?
If you're studying in the UK or Australia, you do not have to submit proof of English proficiency. But if you are studying, for example, let's say you study in the Netherlands and the English is the language of instruction at your university, we will need to have documentation of this, and we'll work together on that. So if that was your situation, contact me and we'll discuss. But if you're applying from a school in the UK or Australia, you don't have to upload any English proficiency documents.
Excellent. When I select a certain program, such as finance, BSBA, is it possible to take classes offered by other programs?
Great question. Yes. So selecting that does not lock you in, for example, to any courses in particular. In fact, if you selected that program, you could probably come to NAU and take no business classes at all. It's not my job to make sure you're taking the classes you need for your home university. You figure that out with your home university advisors and such. And then I work with you to get into your NAU classes. But let's say you're a business student and you'd really like to take a skiing class and an intro to applied Indigenous studies class and a criminal justice class and a business class. I would work with you to get enrolled in those classes. You must meet the requirements for each course. So courses sometimes have prerequisites, which are just requirements that they have for the course to make sure you're able to succeed in that class. And you don't want to take a class that you have no chance of succeeding in because you don't have the background. So we make sure you have that. I work with different departments across campus to get you enrolled in your classes, but you're absolutely able to take classes outside of the major you select in your application.
All right, is it possible to submit English level scores after March 15th?
Yes, but that means your application is not submitted by March 15th. So it delays your process entirely. Since it's right now February, you have a month. I hope that you'd be able to, if you're being nominated, I hope you'll be able to secure a test before then. Like I said, the Duolingo test has been much more affordable and quick for students. So I know another student was recently in the situation. They had a TOEFL test scheduled, but not for another month or two. So they canceled their TOEFL test, did the Duolingo test online. I'm not sure if you really can do it the same day, but it is a very quick turnaround and under $100. So if you don't have a test right now and you know you're applying, I'd really suggest looking into the Duolingo test as an option so that you can submit all of your documents on time for your application.
Okay, how long are we allowed to stay in the US with the J1 visa for traveling before and after the semester?
As a J1 student on a J1 visa, you are allowed to enter the US up to 30 days before the start of your program. But keeping in mind that you'll be responsible for everything on your own, you'll be responsible for accommodations, and you'll need to pay very close attention to when your health insurance is active, because if you arrive before your NAU, health insurance goes into effect. You'll be in the US without health insurance, and we never know what's going to happen. But the one thing we know for certain is that the US healthcare is extremely expensive. And I don't say that like as a person from the US who likes to complain about their healthcare system. I say that genuinely, it is very expensive if something were to happen without health insurance. Also, at the end of your program, you have a 30-day grace period. So you must exit the country within 30 days of the end of your program, but students are able to remain in the US for 30 days after the end of their exchange program, after the end date on their DS 2019 document they received from NAU.
One other thing that's really great that we offer here at NAU that isn't normal across all institutions across the US is that you can look for an internship after your program and extend that visa longer than 30 days if you find an internship. So you'll work directly with Maria and the director of ISSS in order to get those extensions and understand the process. So if you have a required internship and you have time after your semester here at NAU, we can work with you to help you with that as well. Mm-hmm. That is the last question, and it is 9:30 on the dot. I think we made it. If you have more questions for our office, please reach out to Maria, exchange student at nau.edu. We're so thrilled that there were so many of you here today to learn about NAU, and we hope that you have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're at in the world. Take care, and thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us this morning, everyone.